Japan's Izumo-class ship, despite being labeled a destroyer, has capabilities that worry China. Initially appearing as a helicopter destroyer, it's actually Japan's largest naval vessel since World War II, with potential to function as a covert aircraft carrier due to its sizable deck and ability to carry stealthy F-35Bs. This has alarmed Chinese officials, who see these vessels as preparations similar to Imperial Japan's past, hinting at potential escalated conflicts.
Aircraft carrier in disguise. After all, if it looks like and acts like an aircraft carrier, then it must be an aircraft carrier, right?
Notably, both America's stealth fighters and Japan's aircraft carriers are aligning, provoking discomfort for China. You are watching Battleground. Consider subscribing to watch regular episodes. A new era for Japan began in 1945, after World War II ended. The post-war constitution was officially enforced on May 3, 1947, under the supervision of United States General Douglas MacArthur, the leader of the Allied powers. Article 9 of this constitution explicitly prohibited Japan from using force to resolve international disputes. As a result, Japan disbanded its robust military, marking a significant departure from its imperial history, with no land, sea, or air forces. Amid the onset of the Cold War and escalating tensions in Asia, the United States, initially advocating for Japan's disarmament, reversed its stance in 1954. Consequently, Japan established the Japan Self-Defense Forces, JSDF, instead of a conventional military. Initially limited to defensive actions, the JSDF was prohibited from deploying troops overseas or possessing offensive weaponry, such as aircraft carriers. Over time, the JSDF's roles and capabilities expanded, often skirting the Constitution's guidelines without outright amending them. Recent developments are linked to a long-standing territorial dispute concerning uninhabited islands, claimed by both Japan as Senkaku and China as Diaoyu.
Clearly, all three powers, and the Japanese, the Chinese, and the Taiwanese, but especially the Japanese-Chinese, have clear interests there. There's huge economic interest between, especially Japan and China.
These tensions, coupled with China's increased defense spending and military advancements, including the acquisition of a Russian aircraft carrier and their own developments, have put Japan in a precarious position. This evolving scenario led to the creation of JS Izumo, a vessel that echoes Japan's formidable historical presence in several aspects. In March 2015, the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force introduced the JS Izumo as the flagship of its class, in comparison to the Nimitz-class carriers of the United States Navy, which weigh 90,000 tons, or China's Liaoning carrier at 58,000 tons. The Izumo is smaller. Yet, despite its size in relation to other carriers, the Izumo stands as Japan's most massive warship deployed since World War II. It boasts a maximum displacement of 27,000 tons and stretches 813 feet in length, surpassing its forerunner, the Hyuga-class, which has a displacement of only 19,000 tons. Originally labeled as a helicopter destroyer, the Izumo-class was mainly designed for anti-submarine warfare. Consequently, these ships lack the heavy long-range offensive weapons typically found on regular aircraft carriers, such as substantial anti-ship missiles or heavy cannons. Instead, the Izumo is equipped with advanced radar and multiple defense-oriented weapon systems, including the Phalanx close-in weapon system for short-range defense against aircraft and missiles, as well as the CRAM missile system. Development of the Izumo class commenced in 2009, and it can house a crew of approximately 470, capable of ferrying up to 400 JSDF troops for various operations. On regular missions, the Izumo class can carry 7 SH-60K anti-submarine warfare helicopters and 2 MCH-101 utility helicopters, with the ability to operate up to 5 helicopters at the same time. Nonetheless, its hangars can accommodate a total of 28 helicopters. Although acknowledged for its versatility, the primary focus of this new carrier, as highlighted by Japanese officials, was initially directed at enhancing national defense, especially in anti-submarine warfare and command and control operations to protect Japanese territories in the East China Sea. Furthermore, a vessel like the Izumo plays a crucial role in responding to significant natural disasters, such as the devastating earthquake and tsunami in 2011. Its rapid mobilization of personnel and supplies could lead to faster response times and potentially increased survival rates among those affected. Oceans of misgiving. Since its introduction, the colossal flat-top destroyer stirred suspicion from China. which swiftly recognized its potential resemblance to a standard carrier. Despite the official classification of the JS Izumo as a defensive destroyer, China and military experts began speculating about its potential adaptation to deploy fighter jets or other aircraft capable of vertical takeoff in the future. Chinese officials openly expressed their doubts, suggesting Izumo was designed for operations against them, dismissing its anti-submarine function as a cover story. The use of the name Izumo also triggered controversy among Chinese political and military circles. The original Izumo, an armored cruiser, was acquired with reparations from the First Sino-Japanese War, a detail not overlooked. However, Japanese officials consistently denied these speculations for years. They firmly stated they had no intention of utilizing Izumo as an aircraft carrier, highlighting the absence of catapults for fighter launches and the lack of a ski jump ramp on the flight deck for fixed-wing aircraft, citing these as tangible evidence. Changing the tide. Even though Japan had denied it for a while, in 2018, they said their Izumo-class helicopter carriers, Izumo and Kaga, would be changed to carry F-35B stealth jets that can take off quickly and land vertically. This is a kind of military power Japan hasn't used since 1945. The changes to the JS Izumo, the main ship of this class, began in 2020 and happened in 2 steps. First, they strengthened the ship's decks so they could handle the added weight and heat from the planes. They also put heat-resistant coating on them and made special areas for the planes to land vertically. In the second step, they changed the shape of the ship's fronts and rearranged the inside so that they could carry and use F-35s. But because of these changes, the ship's ability to hunt submarines will be somewhat reduced. Japan said they made these changes because their air bases were becoming more vulnerable to missile attacks from China and North Korea. Experts think Japan will use the F-35Bs to gather information about enemy targets and share it with other warships, like Japanese or even American ones. This way, those ships can launch their own missiles, and the F-35Bs can stay hidden without opening their weapon bays. For Japan, having their own F-35B carriers means they are making a big change in their defense strategy, recognizing that they may need to fight against China's navy to protect their islands. As expected, when Japan announced this change to Izumo, Chinese state-run media criticized Japan's past actions and said they shouldn't make aggressive moves like this because of their history of invading other countries in the Asia-Pacific during World War II. Looking ahead. Since the announcement, Japan has been steadily improving its abilities in the sea and air, with upgrades being made to the Izumo-class destroyer. On October 3, 2021, an important achievement was reached. 2 United States Marine Corps F-35B Lightning II Joint Strike Fighters successfully took off from and landed on the JS Izumo. This was the first time since World War II that Japanese Navy warships had operated fixed-wing aircraft. The 2 F-35Bs from the BATs of Marine Fighter Attack Squadron 242 took off from Marine Corps Air Station Iwakuni, Japan, and landed on Izumo. Their goal was to test the modifications made to the warship, enabling the F-35's short takeoff and vertical landing version to operate from the ship. As per the JMSDF statement, they gathered data and conducted various training sessions to operate F-35B fighters on naval vessels and to strengthen cooperation between Japan and the US. The JMSDF released a video demonstrating the F-35s taking off and landing vertically from Izumo. Izumo recently completed the initial phase of its 2-stage modification. The final adjustments to the ship are scheduled for 2025, and JS Kaga, its sister ship, is also undergoing modifications. The modifications to Izumo and Kaga are part of the Japan Self-Defense Force's plan to acquire 42 F-35Bs, with the first batch expected to arrive in 2023. United States Marine Corps F-35s will continue to operate from the 2 carriers, while Japanese pilots familiarize themselves with these aircraft. When Japanese F-35Bs become operational, it will be the first time since World War II that Japan will use fighter aircraft from their naval vessels, increasing tensions in the region. That's a wrap. We hope you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe the channel. Bye.